Cody Wells,
Blair Felt,
Kenley Eden, and we present to you Tillie Anderson and her bicycle, the picture of free, untrammeled womanhood.
As the world champion cyclist for women from 1895 to 1902, Tillie Anderson was a turning point in history. Her impact on cycling and women's sports supported and furthered the women's rights movement.
let me tell you what I think of cycling. It has done more to emancipate women more than anything else in the world.
It gives women the feeling of freedom and self-reliance. I stand by and rejoice every time I see a woman ride by on a wheel.
The picture of free, untrammeled womanhood. Susan B. Anthony, 1896.
In 1891, at the age of 16, Tillie Anderson and her family immigrated from Sweden to Chicago. She then began work as a seamstress in a tailor's shop. Shortly after, she saw women sailing by on a new contraption, looking very free.
Women are expected to remain subservient to fathers and husbands. We have very few political, legal, or social rights. Due to receiving little education, we must work as laborers. Women are not fragile things to possess. The women's movement is gaining ground. My job has brought me some independence, but the wheel can bring me so much more.
Tillie girl, where are you? Are you off dreaming again?
Mother, I have made a decision. I have been saving my wages, and I am going to buy a safety bicycle.
Bicycles are not for ladies. Many young girls your age are in conflict with their parents, fighting for freedoms. You are known in our family for your strong will. But why must you push and join the fight?
A new culture is being built around the bicycle, and I do not want to be dependent on a man for transportation or anything else. I want freedoms from the current expectations placed upon women.
Stop daydreaming and be a proper lady.
I do not want to ride in a slow, stately manner. I want to be a part of a bicycle club and speed down the streets with freedom.
In 1893, at the age of 18, Tillie purchased her first bicycle and began her journey.
Soon thereafter, she joined a bicycle club for Swedish girls.
Cycling for women was designed to be slow and synchronized, but Tillie Anderson transformed cycling into a sport for women.
At the time, bicycle riding was fashionable for women. Racing was a novelty but fast growing.
In 1895, Tillie entered her first race, a 100-mile test of endurance along Illinois roads between Elgin and Aurora.
In driving rain, Tillie outpaced the previous women's course record by 18 minutes. Tillie pushed the boundaries of cultural norms placed on women in the late 1800s. The culture was strict and unsupportive of women riding bicycles. Tillie's impact paved the way and created a turning point for women in sports. Her husband and manager, Phil Schochberg, was her biggest supporter. Managers would book races, train the racers, and ready the bicycles.
As a former cycle racer, I'm proud of your showings in the competitive races. You continue to take first place and have become the leader of a new crop of young athletic women, defying disapproval from parental types. You are riding your way to victory and newspaper fame.
As my manager, Phil, you must make sure I am represented well in the newspapers. The bloomers and pantaloons are much easier to race in, but the new racing uniform will increase my speed.
Your next race will take place in Music Hall in St. Louis, Missouri on December 13th. I have been told that you will share the hall with evangelist Reverend Dwight Moody. His disdain and feelings about women racing have become widely known.
I was in his Bible class and one of his flock in Chicago. For goodness sakes, I hope they don't tell him we will be in the same building at the same time. He would be very angry if he knew I was racing the wheel in tights and a sweater. He would come take me off my bike, and I cannot afford to lose a lap.
You won't lose a lap, and I will make sure of it. Your races are too important, and you can't be scared of one man and his opinion. There's no need to stress over this race.
Oh! I received a telegram today from Winfield Freeman. the news editor of the Republican Gazette in St. Louis.
May you go away with the good wishes and feelings of gratitude and respect which accompany you to your succeeding victories. An accomplishment indeed. Tillie, you are making a difference. You are changing history.
Tillie's continued success in racing the wheel was very controversial. Newspapers around the United States would praise her success and impact on women's rights, while others reported her impact as deplorable. The women would race for 2 hours a day for 6 days, maintaining speeds from 25 to 27 miles per hour. In December of 1897, while in St. Louis, the St. Louis Republic featured Tillie and the Reverend Dwight Moody in an article. Their face-off would be a major newspaper focal point.
I don't know what we are coming to.
I think Mr. Moody is a very good man.
Of course I believe in wholesome exercise, but we Americans are so apt to overdo anything that often results in lasting injury.
I didn't take the wheel for my health particularly. I suppose it was more for the reason that bicycles were being used by women, and I wanted to try the fad.
Where women overdo it especially. I should think that it would lead to troubles peculiar to women.
From the start, I've been in love with wheeling. I was very weak when I first began, but now I never suffer from pains and aches as most women do.
And then, that's not the worst of it. The bicycle offers unchaperoned outings for women and girls.
I think the bicycle is a delightful sport and the best possible exercise.
I think that the bicycle and the Sunday newspaper are doing an incalculable injury. They keep people from church services while they choose Sunday rides and picnics.
I have been examined by physicians interested in studying the effects of exercise on a woman's body. An illustration of my leg was published, while my mother was horrified. The bicycle is a toy to men, but a steed for women to ride into political battles. As women, the freedom to travel is evolving along with the fashion updates that are needed to ride astride a wheel. My racing uniform gives women the freedom to ride unhindered by the confinement of society's dress expectations for women. The bicycle and the opportunity for women to be represented as professional athletes is a turning point in women's freedom, fashion, exercise, and women's rights. But this is just the beginning.
In her racing career from 1896 to 1902, Tillie Anderson won 123 races out of 130. She was known as Tillie the Terrible Swede.
By the age of 22, Tillie Anderson was known internationally as the fastest female cyclist in the world.
Tillie and her competitors were known as the first professional female athletes.
Tillie had paid endorsements from 2 companies, the Thistle and Morgan & Wright tires.
Women's racing was banned by the League of American Wheelmen in 1902.
After her racing days ended, Tillie Anderson became a masseuse for Chicago's wealthy. She died in April of 1965, just days after turning 90. She was inducted into the U.S. Bicycling Hall of Fame in June 2000.
A whiz, a whir, a dazzling blur, a flash of yellow hair, a firm set face, a whirlwind pace, a wheel that splits the air.
To slow our eyes, so fast she flies around the tilted curve, with wheel acant at dizzy slant to catch the swooping curve.
The swooping swerve, how cool, her nerve. She swings into the lead. She holds her place in maddest race, as tireless as her steed.
The goal in sight, how wild her flight, and how our senses reel, to see the rush and hear the hush, as Tillie rides her wheel.
As the world champion cyclist for women from 1895 to 1902, Tillie Anderson's success was a turning point in history. There never was but one Tillie Anderson, and probably there never will be another.